Happy Friday, everyone. Your Vegas Nation host, Cassie Soto, here with you, and here with some Raiders preseason dates. Here to take us through the schedule is Raiders beat writer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Vinny Bonsignore. Vinny, there was not a preseason last year, and it finally looks like things are back on track for the Raiders. They will host the Seattle Seahawks on August 14th. Could this be the first game with fans in attendance at Allegiant Stadium, Vinny?
Well, that is the hope and that is the expectation. And, it looks like there's going to be a couple of other events to kind of be the dry run ahead of an actual Raiders game. But yeah, that game against the Seattle Seahawks. Remember, they only get one home game in the preseason this year of the three that they play because of that added 17th game and because the AFC hosts the NFC in those extra games this year. That means that the AFC teams only get the one home game. So that's it for the Raiders. That Seattle game as far as the home preseason. But then they go play the Rams in Los Angeles and then wrap it up against the very familiar also 49ers up in Santa Clara to wrap up the preseason before opening it all up against the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football.
I can't believe it. Still talking about all this, I'm like, get goosebumps. Like, football is coming back, Vinny. It's going to be incredible.
Yes.
Well, looking ahead here now, what does preseason mean for these rookies now? Obviously, the 2020 draft class didn't get it. How important are preseason games for these new guys, even for the 2020 class who didn't get one last season?
Yeah, and for a lot of guys, really, because there's a lot of guys also on one-year deals right now with the Raiders that are trying to take that next step and maybe earn another payday. So for them, it's important for the Raiders to figure out who's going to be that starting cornerback on the outside, who's going to be the slot cornerback this year. Has Henry Ruggs taken a step forward? Where's Brian Edwards in terms of the development process? Foster Moreau, coming off the injury in 2019, kind of took a year to rehab it back and work his way back last year. Jonathan Abram, Trayvon Morig. There's so many players on this Raiders roster that really need to get out there and get some reps in preseason. It wasn't a luxury that they had this year, but hopefully, keeping our fingers crossed, everything will remain on track for that to be the case this year.
Well, in other Raiders news, Vinny, we saw some surprising news that the Raiders released defensive tackle David Irving. What is the story there, do you think?
Well, number one, given his past, and he's had some suspensions in his past. That's why the Raiders signed him last year I think it was November or October, coming off a lengthy suspension with the NFL. It wasn't the first time he had kind of run afoul of the NFL. So, in the Raiders building, they kind of knew that this was sort of a long shot, that it was all going to work out. And, for it to work out, though, everybody needs to put their best foot forward. And unfortunately for David Irving, the Raiders were in the second phase of OTAs this week where players were back in the building and getting practice time on the field with their coaches, and David Irving was not around. So hard to make the team and make an impression when everything is there for you to make that good impression. I mean, especially in players like that, his case, he needed to be out there and he wasn't. And, I think that ship just sailed and the Raiders said, time to move on. And there's other bodies, other players along that defensive line that they want to get good looks at. Unfortunately for David Irving, it's not going to work here with the Raiders. We'll see if he lands someplace else.
All right. Well, as we close out phase 2 of OTAs, Vinny, take us through what next week will look like for the Raiders, if you can.
Actual football type practices, and when we say that, we mean offense is going to be able to practice against the defense in 11 on 11s, 7 on 9s, 7 on 7s. So you're going to be able to see Trayvon Morig out there and Henry Ruggs working against Damon Arnett and Tanner Muse, the rookie that missed all of last year. You're going to be able to see them in actual football situations and activities, and Derek Carr throwing it to the young wide receivers. And so, it's a really good opportunity for us, the media. There'll be some open time for us to be able to get a look at what is out there and who's out there and how everybody looks physically and where they are in the development process. So I'm excited about it. I know the Raiders are. And for the next basically 4 weeks, they're going to be out there each week during parts of each week for the next 4 weeks, and then wrap it up with that mini camp toward the middle of June. And then it's training camp, just, not too much longer after that, after a short little break. So it's coming.
Vinny is, if he wasn't already a busy man, he's going to be an even busier man starting
Love
next
it.
week. Yeah. So be sure to tune in or head over to vegasnation.com for all of your Raiders news. Vinny, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
You got it. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you. Once again, head on over to vegasnation.com for the latest and greatest with the Raiders. For Vinny Bonsignore, I'm Cassie Soto. Thanks for watching.